This episode is fueled by Mountain Ops, supplements to conquer more and crush your countdowns. Visit mountainops.com for all your supplemental needs. Fuel, recover, repeat.
All right, welcome back to Countdown 2 Podcast. I'm your co-host, Drew.
I'm Leighton.
And we don't have a guest. He ran away. He got scared.
He said we were too much
here.
for him.
Yeah, that's right. There he is.
Oh,
there he is.
sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
We have a guest again.
All right, welcome back to Countdown 2 Podcast. I'm your co-host, Drew.
I'm Leighton.
And we're brothers. So, as you know, we are a podcast about the journey, not arrival. And we set huge goals that we reverse engineer into completion that we call countdowns.
That's right. And continuing on with the Countdown 2 Yeti Gathering 2026 challenge, today we have former Olympic snowboarder, World Cup winner, Olympic coach, adventurer, and longtime Yeti Cycles ambassador, Justin Reiter.
Yeah, welcome, Justin.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me.
So one thing, Justin, you told me before on the phone that really stuck with me is that you were one of the best snowboarders in the world and you still felt empty.
Yeah, so
I don't think I've ever said I'm one of the best snowboarders in the world.
I coined it.
Thank you, but I just want to be very clear. I'd never said that.
Good quoting job.
I used to snowboard a lot, and I was ranked pretty well. But best snowboarder out there is always having fun.
One of, for the record. Anyway,
yeah. We like to make our own quotes. So just get ready for that. We'll put words in your mouth.
We have a whole legal team.
60% of the time, it works every time.
So on that note, let's dive into who Justin is. Not the Olympian, not the medals won or competition. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. The man behind those accolades. We'll talk about identity, fulfillment, pressure, and our two favorite topics, mountain biking and Yeti Cycles.
Sweet.
So, Justin, take us through a quick history of snowboarding and competition for you. Don't be humble.
A young buck. I was a young buck and riding. I was out skiing with my mom, actually. And out of nowhere, this guy came flying out of the trees on what was a snowboard. I didn't know what it was when I first saw it. And he came out and just went underneath the chair and just drew this clean line down the mountain. And I was like, holy crap. I got off the lift and skied down as fast as I could and just kind of could barely utter a sentence like, well, what is that? And I was about 8 years old. And it turns out it was a snowboard. He was one of the first people at Copper Mountain where I learned how to do it. And he just kind of let me touch it and look at it. And I was like, holy moly, this is the coolest thing ever. And I don't know, the journey started there. I begged and begged and begged my mom for it. And lo and behold, that Christmas, Santa Claus, he was a gangster and he showed up and he put one underneath.
Yeah.
He put one underneath the tree,
Sweet.
AKA mom did. And I slept with it that night, which was, and that was kind of the beginning of a love affair there.
Dude,
nice. How old were you? You said 8. Oh, I'm sorry. What year?
I was 8, 9. I started riding when I was 9.
What year was this?
Shoot, I'm
For thinking
45 now. I mean, that was long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about snowboards not being something on the mountain. I mean, that's got to be Burton days.
Yeah, it was like 90, 91 kind of in there.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I think so.
So 8 years old, you caught the fire.
Yep.
Take us real quick from 8 years old, and all of a sudden you're at Olympic level. There's a lot that happens in there, but yeah, unpack that.
Yeah, it happened real quick, just like that. No.
Man, awesome.
I clicked my heels 3 times, said there's no place like the Olympics, and all of a sudden I was there.
Right.
No, it was a tumultuous journey. Complete with really, really big setbacks and good success, huge success, things that I'm not proud of, things that I'm very proud of, highlights, lowlights, just like a good photo, kind of a collection of all the elements that balance out to being a journey. And started off as a junior. I fought my way up through the ranks there. Then graduated high school, and it was kind of faced with a choice: continue with schooling or try and pursue snowboarding. Mom made a deal with me If I continued with like community college on a full-time thing, working full-time, then I could continue to snowboard.
Dang.
And so, it became a very full schedule, and moved to Steamboat Springs, Colorado, which is where I'm based out of now, because they had a great program with a great coach. And so started training there and cut my teeth and made the U.S. team, and then started traveling on the World Cup. Missed the Olympics in 2006 due to an injury. Pushed through after having a great World Cup rookie season and getting my first World Cup podium, and then was looking forward to come back in 2010, and then had a big crash early season, broke my leg, and wasn't able to like ride at the potential that I could have, and unfortunately missed another games. Retired, took 3 years off. Had one of my good friends and sponsors come back, Ziggy Grobner out of Austria. I was partnered with Red Bull, and they said, "Hey, you've got some unfinished business here. Why don't you give it another go?" And so I came out of retirement, which at that point I was not on the U.S. team. There was no support, so I ended up living out of my truck for about 3 years during this journey. And within the first year, I made the Olympic team, and then had 2 really successful World Cup seasons afterwards, in which finished 3rd overall in the world, and was 2nd at World Championships, and won my first World Cup, and had multiple podiums. And so I was, and then went on to retire, and then did some other things that I'm very happy with. But it was long story short.
No, that was perfect.
Had all kinds of things.
Yeah. And we still hold to the, second best in the world. I don't know.
Third, whatever.
We're going to keep to that.
Third best.
Third best.
So sorry.
Yeah. Loser. No. I'm sorry.
No, it's technically second loser. Second loser.
There you go.
So, there's a lot in there.
During that time period, was snowboarding always fun for you, or did it become a chore or a challenge?
It's a great question, and I think that's something that a lot of people, today's audiences, are always looking for that thing that's going to make their kids a success. I was recently at a film premiere with TGR, Teton Gravity Research, and one of the questions was, how do you make it so that kids can make it to the next level and have a sustainable career? And the panelists that answered said that fun was the priority. And I was sitting in the audience, and I was very tempted to stand up and say that is I'm possibly one of the worst answers you could potentially give a child, because it sets this false precedent, this false expectation that this journey that you're choosing to go down is going to be just rainbows and lollipops and a yellow brick road full of fun. But it's not that. There's some type of unspoken driver when kids, youths, even adults have an undying passion that they want to accomplish something. And it's that burn that fuels a resilience to bounce back up when it's not fun.
Right.
Because if you're expecting it to be fun, and the day that it's not fun, you all of a sudden start to question yourself, you question the path, and you question the discipline or the sport. And that can really lead to a very rapid, especially nowadays with how short attention spans are becoming due to our phones and due to the fast-paced evolution of technology.
Sure.
That if you have a week worth of not fun training, you're going to all of a sudden convince yourself that, oh, well, fun was the focus. I'm not having fun, therefore this must not be worth it.
Yeah, right.
And it's a very, very very, very rapid jump, which I don't think is an accurate portrayal of what it takes to become proficient, if not excellent, at what you choose.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I almost wish you would have stood up just to set it straight, because you're absolutely right. So, beyond being a kid and starting early and getting into that culture and world, what sacrifices do people never see? I mean, and this could be as an adult and all that stuff like that you went through, retiring, coming back, all the above. Usually you just see the accolades or the sponsored pictures or whatnot, and it's, man, Justin's killing it. But on the inside and behind the scenes, what do people not see in those moments?
Yeah, I mean, I think even now as starting a new business and being an entrepreneur, it's very similar in terms of being an athlete where you're a duck on the water.
Mm.
Ducks look very, very calm on the top, and underneath their little legs are kicking like hell.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of that where you don't want to see them. You don't want anybody to see you sweat. And the grind is very, very apparent, but it's kind of behind the scenes. As a result, you have a lot of people that attach to you when you're successful,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot that aren't really there when times are hard and times are dark.
Yeah.
I also want to be very cognizant of the word sacrifice. I don't really ever choose to use that word because participating in sport is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
At least for me, it was.
Yeah.
It required a lot of dedication and a lot of compromises with other things in life. It really eliminated the and word. I could do this or this. It was very rare that I got to do this and this. You would always have to make a choice, but it was nonetheless a choice that I made. And so while it felt hard, while it was hard, while a lot of times working 2 full-time jobs plus training and living out of my truck, that was not an easy thing to do, but it was nonetheless my choice. And so when you have the difference between should and could and want to it's very easy to exchange those words, and the power behind them will influence you accordingly.
Yeah.
Um,
So would you say,
yeah,
on that note, would you say that the difference is you had the control? You know, nobody took that control away from you. You had a control. You chose to do the things you did, the sacrifices you did, whether it be staying in your truck, all that stuff like that, as opposed to being made to do that or whatnot.
Correct. Yeah. And there's so many hardships that people have to go through in the world today and that are out of their control, whether it's illness, world situations.
Yeah.
It's very, I don't want to sound like I'm traveling all over the world chasing my dreams, my Olympic dreams and my World Cup dreams, while carrying a victim mindset of like, oh, how I can't believe the snow is this bad. Yeah, it's still snow. And granted, there were shitty days where it was hard to hold your head high.
Sure.
But by all means, I've always empower the athletes that I work with now, and I try to, throughout my own career, have the accountability to recognize that this is a choice, that we're pursuing something. And while it would be nice to have an excuse, we unfortunately don't have that luxury.
Right. Yeah. Man, that's a great answer.
End episode right there.
Yeah, there we go. Did your identity become tied to performance?
100%. It would be really nice to say like I was so above it all and so zenned out that it just it just didn't matter. Again, water off a duck's back. So even while my legs were kicking, the water was just streaming off. But that was not the case. No, it's and I think for a lot of athletes, especially when they're younger, it's really hard to create that separation, especially with athletes that are very good or very hungry. If you have an athlete that does not come from a scarcity mindset and they have an abundance lifestyle, or they're not really working that hard or not being forced to work that hard to make things work, aka making sacrifices, having the or versus the and, a lot of them can get fourth and be absolutely settled with it and be like, okay. And then the kid who's kind of going out there and doing everything possible to make it happen, they get fourth and they go in the clubhouse and beat the crap out of a trash can with a 2x4 and cry silently.
Yeah.
I was the latter. And there's that's not to say that I was by myself. I had a wonderful support group. My mother, a lot of friends, everybody cheered, and I really appreciate that. But there is a statement of we win, you lose. And even if it's not really, even if someone else doesn't intend for it to land that way, starting gate is one of the loneliest places in the world. You can feel and you can hear the names cheering. You can hear everybody cheering for you from down at the bottom or anything like that. And you can hear the engines revving, watching the downhill this weekend and just seeing all the Ludenville, all the vibe is just so intense. But ultimately, each one of those guys that steps into that start gate is by themselves. And you have your whole team there up until that moment, but you cross that wand and you're by yourself. So it is a lonely experience, especially when you don't have the best results. And your identity can get fixed to it.
Yeah.
But that's a scarcity mindset. That's also based on a lack of self-esteem. And the word esteem means worth. And very often that is not something that coaches coach. That's not something that coaches work on. They may focus on fundamentals. And when you're on a national team, the national team's coach's job is to get results. And he or she is dealing with 7 to 10 athletes, all of different personalities that came from different parts of the nation. And they're trying to curate and cultivate the cream off the top.
Yeah.
And because their job is dependent on it.
Right.
And so once you hit national level, World Cup team level, your development is pretty secondary on a typical program. And your execution is primary. And when you're younger on the team or emotionally immature, it's hard to set that. And then especially when the pattern is reinforced by the coaches, where if you do well, you get more attention.
Right.
And if you do poorly, you don't get a second look. It's hard not to have your identity tied to it.
100%. No, that makes
For better,
sense.
for worse.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask how much pressure came from yourself versus external expectations. Sounds like a lot from both, and they really intertwine together.
Yeah, I think more internally, for sure. For sure, I was very intrinsically motivated. And it felt nice to have outward external recognition. I never really had anybody being like, yo, you got to do this. My mom was never like that. My father was never like that. Not even friends.
In a good way?
Yeah, in a really
Okay,
nice way. In a really good way. No, for sure. Like, sorry,
No,
it
you're
trailed
good.
off there, but it was not I don't think of a single time. My mom loves me unconditionally. My father supports me unconditionally, and in that sense. And I think the hardest part for parents is watching when your kid doesn't do well and not knowing what to say. That doesn't come across as some platitude that's just like, well, you get them next time, Tiger. And at the same time, there's nothing that you can probably say to the kid at that time that's going to land with any real heartfelt emotion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, as you're climbing the ladder, climbing up more, you get more successful and stuff like that, and you're starting a podium more in the FIS Snowboarding World Cup and such, did success feel how you thought it would?
Great question. At first, yes. Then it all of a sudden started to feel like it was natural. And then all of a sudden, I remember crossing the finish line on my first World Cup win in Russia. And I crossed the finish line, and two very, very dark words kind of crossed my mind. And I just thought, that's it. And it was this moment where it was like, I fought for 20 years to achieve this.
Yeah.
because winning a World Cup is arguably harder than winning the Olympics, because you have larger teams that you're competing against. It's a full field. Olympics is an abbreviated field. And to win a World Cup, and I just was like, wow, it took me that long to figure out how to do this. How silly am I? I didn't use that word towards myself. But yeah, that's another thing, is like, we're our harshest critics. Our internal monologue is so harsh sometimes that you would never speak to a person that way. I would never speak to one of my athletes the way I speak to myself. I would never speak to, if I were to have any kids, son or daughter, I would never imagine speaking to the way that I speak to myself sometimes. And yet we are so liberal with it in our self pulling down of ourselves. And so it's a wonder why when athletes don't have that self-esteem. But it's a very fine line, because if all of a sudden you're telling yourself, oh, I'm great no matter what, and you're getting 54th or 32nd every day, and you're like, oh, I'm the man. Sorry, dude. I set it on do not disturb.
Sometimes they come through. It's all good. Well, and real quick, what I was going to say, piggybacking off what you were saying, Justin, on how you speak to yourself, like we preach on that all the time. It's just like, the world's against you. Don't be against yourself. Like, be your own cheerleader, and that it matters what you say. That's why we tell people we love them, not hate them. Well, yeah. And so do it to yourself. Get out of your own way. So anyways, so we talked about where you were, and then winning big, third best in the world. Second loser.
Yeah.
Second loser.
But still,
I want to be a second loser.
You are to me, Drew. Anyways, you were still feeling empty. And so we want to dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah. So when did you first realize achievement wasn't creating that fulfillment?
At the end of that season, which was the 2016 season, I found myself I was ranked third in the world overall. I'd won my first World Cup. I'd had more success than I'd ever had before. Was now an Olympian, and I was flat. Really didn't have a reason to get out of bed every day. The same driver. I talk a lot about drivers and what motivates people. My driver was kind of flat, and it started to spiral in a pretty dark way. And I'd always dealt with depression, but this was like a much, much deeper spot.
Gotcha. So I was going to ask if you would actually identify it as depression too. So,
well, I try as hard as I can not to identify as it, but I definitely, I feel it, and I try to keep those emotions separate from who I am. Very similar to victory and loss, as we say, I am a winner, I am a loser, versus I experienced a victory, I experienced a loss. Same similar thing with I am happy or I am sad, versus I feel happy versus I feel sad. And those subtle changes in our verbiage can actually massively affect how we carry our emotions and how they carry us up or carry us down.
Yeah, absolutely. And depression is something I've dealt with my whole life until a couple years ago. And so that's what we really try to dive in here. Well, and I'm sorry you were feeling that way. That sucks. Like that after 20 years of working really hard and, like, oh my gosh. And it's just like, oh, freak, this sucks. So I'm sorry you were feeling that way. And with all your sponsors, support systems, you're at the top of your game. Then depression hit. Sorry. Well, I didn't say a number. Well, then depression. Did you ever feel guilty for feeling empty after accomplishing what most people dream of?
Oh, for sure. I mean, at the time, I would never have admitted that I crossed the finish line, and the first thing I felt was disappointment.
Yeah.
I would never I would never want to admit it, honestly,
Yeah.
because I just, you felt so ashamed of like, how dare I be so ungrateful
Yeah.
for this gift that I've worked hard for, true, but like still felt pretty fortunate to have. And you don't want to just sound like an ungrateful person.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be ungrateful either at the same time. So yeah, kind of mask it and kind of just try and go back to the gym, do the work, but that driver's not there. And in the past, like the dark passenger, that emptiness that I tend to feel, was like the driver that got me out of bed early in the morning. And so now there was an emptiness, but it had been altered because I had accomplished things. So it kind of filled the cup, but didn't necessarily fill the cup with something positive, which again is complete mindset, complete yeah, just something a little bit different. And you would think that it would be a very binary of like do good, get good, and but it was twisted for some reason.
Yeah, in those early years of identifying depression, being there, did you ever find what was actually missing or how to fill that hole, or has it been a journey out of that?
Oh, I think it's an ever evolving journey.
Yeah.
I think most parts of life, what brings you happiness at one stage in life will ultimately change. You have kids, you develop a relationship, you lose someone, you experience grief,
Totally.
you get introduced to something really cool like bikes. There's so many things that life just in general evolves to, and it becomes this amalgam, and then you have, as you get older, you have perspective, and so you have this wonderful ability of looking back on your life and saying, what helped me here, what didn't help me here.
Yeah.
Same path leads to same destination, and so if you choose to walk on a different path, you can ultimately try and find a new destination. You may stub your toe along the way because now you're doing something new, but yeah, there's a lot of pieces within that revolve around choice.
True.
It's a incredible and incredibly annoying journey, being a human, but it is funny how some of these things can shift with a mind shift, on how you take things. But so was there fear around retirement and identity loss?
Hugely. Yeah, I didn't really know what I would be if I wasn't Justin the snowboarder. I think a lot of athletes realize this or face this, experience this when you go and you see your friends. The questions they talk about, like, oh, how long are you in town for? What's the next event? You always have something to talk about. It may be repetitive, but for them, it always sounds exciting. For you, it always kind of puts you at the center of attention. And I think a lot of athletes probably relish in that. And it also is unique. And chances are, whoever you sit down next to on the plane, you've got a cooler job than they've got. So you've got like this little bump that just kind of fills the cup in a sense in terms of some external validation.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start to think, if I stop, there's two very ominous words. Now what?
Yeah. Right.
And I was fortunate enough to discover like a window out of my career on a motorcycle trip in Ladakh, which is high in the Himalayas, kind of bordering Nepal, Tibet, and China. And I was there with the sponsor, Royal Enfield Motorcycles. We flew out there and just did a 14-day motorcycle trip at 14,000 to 18,000 feet. And along that journey of riding these bikes on the highest roads in the world, dodging cows and medicine men and falling rocks and feeling earthquakes at 18,000 feet, I all of a sudden had this shift, as cliche as it sounds, where I realized that I could step away from snowboarding.
No, I was going to say that it kind of leans itself into my next question. So, there's a great article on Yeti Cycles. It's called "A Journey with Yeti," and you state in that fear is our greatest ally when we understand it. Is that kind of what you're leaning towards there? Can you walk us through that?
My relationship to fear is been one of those evolving elements of life where you think you have an understanding of it at one point in your life, where your instruction is to deny it, and then you're supposed to thrive on it, and then you're supposed to overcome it, and then as you really grow older, and if you have fortunate ability to have good mentors and people, then all of a sudden you realize that fear is an ally, and it's literally there to help you. And I think that trip into Ladakh was kind of the first time where I felt a bit of peace outside of my sport, and that there could be some type of energy and flow that was beyond snowboarding and the pursuit of going fast down a mountain.
Yeah. No, and I love that. And that's a perfect segue into our next section here. The bike was always there.
Yeah.
And we're talking mountain bike now. You were talking motorcycles, we're talking mountain bike now. We're switching gears.
Yeah, no.
So you mentioned, I was in one of your articles or something, but that when training for snowboarding, sometimes you take a break and go mountain biking. When did mountain biking become more than just cross training or an escape from training?
I started riding. I had retired from snowboarding in 2010.
Okay.
And I moved to Crested Butte, which is like one of the birthplaces of mountain biking. And I hadn't ridden for a long time. And because I wasn't snowboarding all the time, I finally had a little bit extra cash and I was able to buy a bike. And so I bought my first Yeti.
Yeah.
And
so your first bike right off the bat is a Yeti?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Well, I had grown up mountain biking. I'd grown up mountain biking, and I had a Schwinn homegrown, which has ties to Yeti because it was made in Durango.
I was going to say, yeah.
But then like my real first bike was a Yeti. And so I got that, started riding in Crested Butte. And then I went back to snowboarding. I got back into it to try and make the Olympics and unfinished business. And so I had my bike, and that became my release / afternoon training partner. So I'd spend all morning in the gym, and then in the afternoons I'd be out on rides all the time. And my trainer, Tashana, who's still with US team, incredible trainer, she understood the personality element of if she just said, hey, no, you need to be on a trainer, you need to be on a spin bike in here for 2.5 hours. That wouldn't have probably been the wisest thing for me. It may have helped my lactate threshold, but it probably, like, the mental threshold would not have kept par. And the seasons are long and they're arduous, and we're spending majority of our time in Europe. And so she saw she had the wherewithal to see that this athlete needed an escape while building. So she allowed me to go and do my workouts in the afternoon. So I'd have my programs, I'd have all my heart rates that I had to match. And it made people would be like, oh, Justin, let's go for a ride. And I'll be like, you don't want to ride with me. Like I have to ride 3 hours at 135 beats per minute. and if the hill gets too steep for me to climb at 130, I have to get off my bike and walk.
Yeah.
Because I can't peak my heart rate. And that's this Monday ride. And then Tuesday I've got to do 6 sets of a 20-minute threshold at this level. And so quickly I rode by myself all the time. And that's why the bike was there all the time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
On that note, you spoke to being alone in the starting gate for snowboarding, and how it's just a lonely place to be. Being on the bike, even training on the bike, sounds like you're alone a lot just because, taking people with you, it just wasn't ideal for your regiment.
And for them.
Yeah, exactly. Did you come alive even though you were alone in the woods on your mountain bike? Did you come alive then, or find yourself again with that, or?
Massively.
Okay.
Massively.
Different.
I mean, the woods are where my cup is filled, and I can do it. I can do a good job pretending like I'm an extrovert, but I don't charge my batteries with anybody else. I have to charge my batteries by myself or with my bike. And so, yeah, the bike I mean, it went into the back of the truck with me every night. I didn't even have a rack on the back. And yeah, it was my buddy. It was my dog.
Yeah.
You know, like we get up in the morning and leave it in the truck until the afternoon when I then take the dog out for a walk, basically. And then, you know, get back and cook dinner on the tailgate and then climb into the back and sleep. And so, yeah, the bike was that vehicle for downloading the day, the vehicle to not feel alone.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, you're reveling in nature. You're soaking it all in, and the bike was always there. It didn't talk. It didn't put up a fight. You know, it was always there.
That's awesome.
I can really I'm loving your story because a couple years ago lived in my car for a year, had my mountain bike there too, and stayed at trailheads and and rode every day. And it was hard, but it was some of the best times of my life, and it made me present, and it made it be okay that I'm by myself, with my thoughts.
Now, granted, you were in a 2-door Yugo.
Yugo. It was just like a crappy Chevy Spark, even smaller.
That's a Yugo. So,
true.
Not as cool as a big old Chevy truck.
No, but and I wasn't on a Yeti yet. Sorry, but Drew was. So
that's all right. That's all right. You got to evolve.
I learned, But so we feel like bikes are the answer to all the world's problems.
Yep.
Why do you think bikes help so many people mentally?
I was thinking about that the last couple of days when I knew we were going to chat, and there's so many different videos of guys and gals riding through Afghanistan and places that are typically thought of as being unwelcoming or difficult to manage under a Western mindset, and yet all of a sudden these bikes can move them through. And people will smile and engage, and it's very disarming for a normally arming situation. And then you have, like Unbound Gravel took place yesterday, and you just had absolute chaos and people riding through puddles that are thigh deep and disappearing in puddles when they fall over and peeing on their drivetrain to kind of clear the mud out. Like, just insanity.
That's a high pressure pee.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm jealous.
And like, how is it that people just volunteer to go into these things just under the power of pedals? And I don't have an answer to it, but for some reason bikes are disarming.
I like that.
And it's a very special thing.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, you could come along a trailhead and instant connection pieces right there. So, would you?
Unless they're hikers or on horses.
Well, yeah.
It's a little bit different.
No. I meant other bikers.
Two wheels.
Yeah.
So did riding for you kind of take you back to that childlike joy that you had when you were first discovering snowboarding, all that?
Very much so, because I had an intention of becoming the best snowboarder in the world in what I was doing. And every ounce of my effort was to that. Yeah. And when you're doing that, you want something so bad, your natural tendency is to grip it and to white knuckle it. Yeah. And kind of like the harder you squeeze a handful of sand, the more sand comes out. The irony in it is the attachment and the non-attachment. You're trying to find that space where you can just hold the sand or hold the bird rather than crush the bird, or be so lackadaisical with it and so apathetic towards it that you don't even care. Yeah. That's what happens when you're like super focused on a sport and you're trying to walk that line and always just be like, oh, can I do this? Can I do this? And bikes were there, and I got to have a beginner mindset. I wanted to improve, and I always want to improve when I'm riding, but it has no consequence whether I do or not. Yeah. It is purely of me. There's no scoreboard. There's no timing. And I've done some bike races. I've done like Leadville 100 and stuff like that. But like, I don't race, and I don't ever want to, because I don't want my personality flaws and competitiveness to taint the journey with my bicycle.
Yeah, 100%.
And because I'm not yet so evolved that I can not care about the result. So it's a self-protection mechanism for my ego, and also just a spa, if you will, for my mind, to just go, and a retreat, a mental retreat.
Yeah.
I love
I think
that.
your version of spa is way different than many people, but I understand. Yeah.
Well,
And
you
I-
had
and I-
a healthy you're keeping a healthy relationship with riding, which is
Unlike
great.
sleeping
Yeah.
with your snowboard earlier on.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But
Unhealthy.
I did sleep with my Yeti when I was
Oh,
in
okay.
Yes, yes.
often.
Yeah.
I mean, I would too. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's funny because I my next question was going to be, was there peace in riding because there wasn't a scoreboard? And that's exactly
Nailed
what
it.
you said. So moving on.
Yep.
Yeah, well, and I like the metaphor of, holding the bird without crushing it.
Yeah.
Leighton usually gives the bird more than he holds it. So, it relates somehow.
With love, of course.
Yeah,
You know?
You gotta do the 3-finger hold while
Yes,
giving.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
well, I liked the analogy with the bird in the sand too, because I've always heard a rope, holding on a rope. Like if you hold on it so far,
gotcha.
your hand's red, and then when you let bad things go, then you can start to heal.
Yeah.
I think that's probably ended up being a little bit different of an analogy, but
But,
we're all
you know,
holding
it's-
things,
And it's different than handlebars. Don't use a handlebar metaphor because if you let go, you're probably going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
been there.
Yeah. Unless you're doing a suey off of a nice kicker.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Which I don't. Yeah.
So moving into our next section, the 14er project.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What is it? What is it? How did the Colorado 14er idea begin, and how long did it take?
So for those of the folks that don't know much about Colorado, it's laced with like 54 14,000 foot peaks. And most of them lie within wilderness areas. And so the year after I had a solid year on the World Cup tour with FIS, and I was third overall, and we talked about it earlier, I wasn't feeling so hot. So I decided to try and run away from my demons. And so in the first, I started running 14ers for training, and because I figured it'd just kind of get my mind right. And I didn't want to be in the gym too much. I just wasn't feeling that motivated, but I still felt peace in nature more so.
Mm-hmm.
So I started running them, I ran like 10 in the first week, and I lost like 7 pounds. And for snowboard racing, which is what I did, you kind of need some meat. And I was like, oh, this is not sustainable. This is, I may have a good time to run all 54, but I'm not going to really come into the season very healthy, having done it. And like the plan was to do it in like a 2-month period. And so then I started to think about it. I was like, well, shoot, I could bike them. And then I started to look at it, and I was like, oh, well, there's technically like 16 peaks that are outside of the boundaries of wilderness areas based on how you route them. And so I was like, well, I'll go bike one and see how it goes. And so I went and biked one, and I was like, well, that was pretty fun. And then I went and biked another one, and I was like, oh, that was kind of cool. And I started to look at it. I was like, well, shit, I might as well try and make a list of them all and just bike them. And then I started to look, and nobody had done it. And so it was more just kind of an idea. And then there was a couple other people at the time that were thinking about doing it. And so I reached out to them and was like, hey, do you guys want to do this together? And that was a weird vibe at that point. Everybody was kind of like every man for themselves and one woman. I remember I'll reach out to 2 guys, and they're like, well, yeah, you could join us, but only if you can get us free Yetis.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was at that point, I stopped holding the bird.
Started giving it.
Sorry, real quick,
And,
Leighton, let's not ask him for free Yetis, okay?
I wasn't.
Let's take that out of this episode.
Free Yetis.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, and it just kind of went through it, and I was, I did in the end. I did try and reach out to everybody that was trying to do it that summer. I was like, hey guys, let's try and finish this together. Let's show the community element of mountain biking. Let's finish it on Pikes Peak, and let's do a trail work day where we do a trail work day. The day we'd all go work on the trails, and then we'd ride the mountain, the last one, all together. And unfortunately, nobody wanted to do that. So I just went and did all the 14ers, and
So wait, okay.
And that's what we did.
So you did Pikes Peak?
I did Pikes. Yeah, I did Elbert. I did everything.
I climbed Pikes Peak, climbed it.
Uh-huh.
Did you come back down that trail that pretty? I mean, I don't know if there's more than one trail, but
there's a bunch of trails off of there.
Oh, okay,
I did it twice, just because
for safe measure.
And
because the whole time I was climbing
up
up it, I was like, this would be sick going down on a bike.
Yeah, and you did. I'm assuming you did the main route up, and that puts you basically right at the top of the tram station, right where the donuts are.
Yeah, correct.
Yep, exactly. So for that one, for Pikes Peak, I rode on the road from town.
Okay.
And I just rode the road all the way up.
Dang.
And then dropped in and did the main route down.
Oh, so fun.
And so that was, that was a hard day.
Let's do it again, all three of us. Let's go.
Anytime.
He's already there. He's ready.
Yeah, exactly. We'll definitely need the oxygen at the top, so we're flatlanders.
Yes, yeah, and donuts.
There you go.
I'm hungry already.
So you were like, nah, let's do this challenge. What were some of the benefits you received? Healing. I don't know of any other ones, but that you weren't expecting to have.
One of the greatest benefits was exploring my state more in a way that was different to me. I had to go and be creative with these routes because a lot of them you could just throw your bike on your back and just punch up it and then turn around and just come down and just yeehaw. And that was cool in some areas, but I like trying to create loops. And so pulling out paper maps is one of my favorite things to do. And so laying out the paper map on the table. Yeah. Analog, baby. So that was a really enjoyable piece was the planning and the trip route.
I love that.
And then just going out there and starting at 4 a.m. and going up under the power of a headlight and getting to the top and then just making it. And also a lot of them in the evenings, because then I wouldn't have to risk upsetting many hikers or anything along those lines. And trying to be respectful of other trail users. And because it's not usual for a mountain bike to be in a lot of those places.
Yeah.
And so that was a cool piece to just like curate a micro adventure or macro, depending on perspective. It's all relative. And then execute it and just be like, oh, that one was really cool. In fact, where the gathering is, there's a really cool lap that I did there up near Montezuma, up the backside of Torrey's, and then up Torrey's, down Gray's, and then up Grizzly, and then down Loveland Pass, and then up a basin ski resort, and then dropping off the backside of the resort back into Montezuma. It was an insane day. It hurt like hell, but it was a sick combo to just throw all of it together.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to hit some of that up. I was kind of looking at H+1's routes and stuff, and they hint at certain areas, but yeah, we'll see.
I think and if not, like we got a couple days there, so
there you go.
Now, so I'll take you guys out for another one.
Yeah, we're gonna be sucking wind. I'm gonna be sucking wind, man. That altitude is gonna kill me, but I love it though. So by this time you're retired, doing these 14ers. Did it kind of?
No, that was still I was still competing at that time.
Okay, never mind. That
yep.
Nullifies my whole question. But did it provide? What did that adventure provide that competition couldn't?
Escape. A completely personal experience of goal setting to achievement versus like having to share something.
Sure.
And that was in 2016, so Instagram and like live feeds and all that stuff wasn't as big as it is now. And so, I'd go out there and I'd take some shots and things like that, and I'd kind of document the trip, but most of it was all on paper. I never used a Strava. I still don't use a Strava. So it was just kind of the personal experience of setting out a goal and then achieving it and not having anybody know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that it was it's very selfish. And I couldn't do it with other people because most of the time I had to do it according to my training as well. And so when those pieces didn't line up, At first I would be like, hey, do you want to do this? And people would be like, no, that's stupid. Why would you want to do that? Like, why,
friends,
no,
bro.
why would you want to do that? Well, no, I think I did a couple of them and they were like, yeah, they were right. That was really so yeah,
Those are good friends.
there is that piece. And so it just ended up kind of being a lot of them were by myself. And then I just started to really enjoy that element of it.
Sound like it really reconnected yourself.
Yeah, self to self. It
Mhm.
was a self-made goal, self-made route, and then self-reliant execution.
Yeah, that makes sense. So at Countdown 2 podcast, we advocate a lot for we do hard things. Why do you think hard physical adventures help people mentally?
When you choose to enter into an arduous, difficult, challenging, cliche word, uncomfortable situation, you're given the opportunity to see what you're capable of. And because it is by choice, you don't get the escape or the excuse to blame someone else for it. And you're given the opportunity to have a micro accomplishment which stacks and builds self-esteem and affirms that you are worth more. And when you see the worth in something, you take care of it. You spend a lot of money on your Yeti. You take care of it.
Yeah.
You beat it up.
Yeah.
You beat the shit out of it. But if something goes wrong with it, you take care of it.
Yeah.
Versus, if you just had a knock around townie, you don't even lean it against the tree. You let it fall over.
Yeah.
And so the self is the same way. Like when you do those things and when you accomplish them, you see the worth and the work justifies the worth.
Yeah. It sounds like the 14er was that for you. Cause, like you said, it was just you, the mountain, your maps, and you get to feel as proud of yourself. And it's not someone else like, oh, here's your scorecard. Here's what we think you did.
Yeah.
By doing really hard things.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just chasing peaks.
Yeah. Literally.
Peaks, but every peak has two valleys.
Yeah.
That's right.
But every valley has two peaks.
Yeah.
So if that goes again back to mindset of like, if you believe it's a good day or if you believe it's a bad day, you are correct.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Exactly.
Like, and so when you enter into that arena with yourself and with a mountain, it reminds me of that George Mallory quote when he asked, I think it was George Mallory or it was Reinhold Messner. It was George Mallory when he went to climb Everest. They said, why climb such a feat? It's never been done, been tried and attempted, and many people have died. And said, why climb it? He said, because it's there. And like and either you understand that or you don't.
Yeah.
And that's okay if you don't, because you're gonna find your own Everest somewhere else, and or you're happy to live without challenge, which also a lot of people have that ability, and unfortunately, I'm not cut that way.
Right.
But for me, finding that respite in the struggle is part of what I am.
No, I love that.
I love that you figured it out. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the look. Yeah, that is a confident, I did figure it out. I love it. So moving on to why Yeti Cycles and just a little backstory on myself. My first Yeti was an SB66, not even a carbon. I swung my leg over. So I was used to downhilling, and the first time I swung my leg over an SB66 was at Whistler. In the in the parking garage, and it was my friend's. Actually, he bought it off of Richie Rude.
Awesome. Or Sean.
And he's like, be careful. It's moto. It's set up moto style. So the
brutal.
The back brake was left hand, all that stuff like that. He ended up switching it, but anyways, I swung my leg over, and I was used to a beastly commensal downhill bike, and swinging my leg over that, like, it felt natural. It felt like, dude, I can take on a mountain downhill and it's light as a feather. And so I ended up riding
Yeah.
that thing the rest of the week there, and it was so much fun. I mean, I got beat to hell, but I was also younger. And so I came home and I built up my own SB66. Other bike I had was XB 6C. And then currently now I've got my SB 140 up above here.
Best bike ever.
Oh my gosh, and I love it. Absolutely.
And
Go ahead.
I have Drew's old SB6C. So
Yeah,
hand me
exactly.
downs, brotherly hand me downs.
Yeah, that's right. Sloppy seconds. No wait.
It's a great bike, sir.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'd take that sloppy any day. But why Yeti Cycles? I mean, both Leighton and I, like, I can't ride another bike. I mean, I've had a transition. Never had a Specialized. Thankful. Mental. What else? Anyways, it's just when I bought the 140, I bought it used. Met a guy at a park, swung my leg over it, and I was like, "Yep, I'll take it." I mean, I didn't have to think anything else because you just feel it. You feel it and are confident in it. So, take it away, Leighton. Oh no, wait, that's my question.
Suck,
I'm sorry.
dude.
What made Yeti? You suck.
Sorry, every episode he just says like, "Is their turn?" I'm like, "It is not my turn."
This is
Okay.
This is the brotherly love. What made Yeti different from just another bike for you, and even just another sponsor for you?
That
Putting you on the spot.
built different.
Yeah.
Built different. You know, it's the company's built different. The people are built different. The bikes are built different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of innovation. I'm a fan of believing in what is possible rather than seeing what are the obstacles and taking obstacles and turning them into opportunities. I think a lot of bikes out there have really struggled. A lot of companies have always struggled with an identity of being, oh, we're just going to be rad and downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're just going to be rad. Oh, hi, Laura. Hi, Laura. Dogs.
What do you got
yes. What kind?
Neighbors' dogs.
Oh, nice.
And Yeti sought to prove that they could build a bike, SB super bike, that could do it all.
Yeah, nailed it.
And that mentality is carried throughout their whole crew.
Mm.
And you go into the warehouse, you go and hang out with DZ, who's like the suspension wizard. You go and hang out with Peach, who's, you know, working to engineer the bikes with everybody. And you see that they're asking questions about what more can we do, not saying like this is all we can do.
Yeah.
And they're doing it while really loving bikes and taking their lunch rides and going and setting comms and qualms all over the front range.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's pretty much not a single segment. Hi again, Laura. Hi. Go get him. Hi. Yes, I know. It's so good to see you. Oh, thank you. All right.
Love it.
Yeah, so there's that's a fresh one for your podcast.
That's right. It's a first.
Usually it's my dogs.
So, you know, it's they're bikes built by people who shred.
Yeah.
They're bikes that are built by people who live in the industry.
Yeah.
You know, Yeti's was in Durango and then Golden. And now you see every other company copying them moving to Golden. It's kind of like,
interesting.
Yo, guys, come up with your own ideas.
Right.
But like, yeah. And but it shows that they have it worked out. They understand. You know, you see those Red Bull commercials. We're like, I get it now. And that's like, now they're like, and you get it. You just, to your point, you swing a leg over. To shorten it, like those guys live, breathe, and believe bikes. And every single person at that company is a shredder and is a blast to go and ride with and has a beautiful view of what it should be. And so when you spend that time, I don't know, I'm sure other companies are great too, like not knocking them. But for me, the community, the bikes, and the ethic behind it are really, really unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's funny because we have a couple more questions about Yeti, about why you chose Yeti, but like without being prompted, you were able to share your true like who they are, which is awesome. So moving forward, we're working towards the gathering. And how many gatherings have you been to? If you
I don't know.
That's what I was waiting on.
That's the best answer right there.
I don't know. My first one was in Steamboat, and it just by happenstance. It was here. I was off of training. I was here for the weekend. I went and rode. I didn't know a single person, not at all. And I'm an ambassador for them, but I don't have. I'm like, I always feel kind of guilty being there, and everybody's like, "Oh gosh," it's like, nah, like, nope. And so I just was like, what can I help with? What can I do? And so I was the last person. I helped them unload bikes off of the shuttles. We shuttled up to Dry Lake, and then we went up from there. Big climb. And I helped them unload bikes. I was the last person off. And there's like 300 people on a group ride. And prior to this, I'm like, 300 people on a group ride? Never in my life will I do something like that. And I got off the thing, helped unload bikes, and I was the last person to leave the parking lot. So I got 299 people in front of me.
Yeah.
And I start pedaling, and there's guys pushing their bikes, and we're 70 meters out of the parking lot, and it's kind of kicks. And there's these guys from Hawaii, and they're pushing their bikes up the hill. And I'm like, we got like 40 miles to go. You guys are in for it. But, I was like, where are you guys from? They're like, Hawaii. Where are you from? I was like, here. And it was like, you guys like bikes? Yep. You like bikes? Yep. You like Yeti? Yep. Oh, do we just become best friends? Yep. And it was that 299 times over, all the way to the front. And it was such a cool experience that I'm really excited for you guys to experience it. Because you tell a lot of people, and you tell people that story, and they're like, that's bullshit. There's no way that it's cool. There's no way that riding with that many people in a concentrated area with that many varying skill levels is cool. And it's like, well, if you're going there to try and set Strava times and be the dude, you're not going to have a great time. But in that case, go ride something else.
Yeah.
But if you want to go there and connect and laugh and have joy without competition, then you will enjoy it more than you could possibly imagine. You'll have friends that become lifelong friends.
Yeah.
That were just a happenstance meeting because of a shared liking for the color turquoise.
Yes, sir. We've experienced that a lot with mountain biking. It's just like you and your buddies are going to have fun on bikes. That's all it's about. And I'm so sorry to admit this, but sometimes I road ride for health.
Got to do it.
But it is not my like, although we're on each other. It's fun in the moment, competition wise, but it's like, this is not what it's about for me. Like we're going up there, we're going to ride, we're going to laugh, maybe crack some drinks open, whatever. That's what it's about. So I'm so stoked that, we're going to do that again with Yeti, but
yeah,
it's very special.
Have all the ones you've been to, were they in Colorado? Or have you been to other ones outside?
Yes, I've never been to an international one.
Okay.
I've met up with a bunch of different riders while traveling internationally for snowboarding.
Okay.
Different ambassadors in different areas. Francesco Grozio, he's from Finale Ligure, and met up with him in Mont Blanc and things like that. That's been really, really an awesome experience, but I've never gone to one internationally.
Okay. Yeah, I'll change that.
No, and I mean we're already talking about our next Yeti countdown, and we're throwing around the idea of next year doing every Yeti gathering offered out there. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this year I think there's 5 statewide or 4 statewide, 5 statewide.
Yeah,
and then there's
this is the first year they've done that.
Yeah. So we're like,
so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, we were gonna try to do the Oak Ridge one in Oregon. That's only 3 hours from me, but from an injury, I just wasn't gonna be ready, so I had to.
Gotcha.
And we wanted to experience Colorado. and
Yeah.
die.
Everybody does until you start to breathe.
Yeah, that's 100%, 100%. So, what should first-time newbies like us expect? I mean, Leighton's planning on going there. He's got his full spandex kit.
100%. And you want a pair of high heels for the party night.
Sweet.
He already has those.
Yep. No, I mean you're gonna want a decent level of fitness, but at the same time, you can always turn around.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't mean that epic is relative. What is epic for one person is a weekend jaunt for somebody else, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out with the Hawaiians.
Oh, absolutely. Those guys are the most fun, anyways.
Yes.
Comfy chair. You want to bring a comfy chair so you can sit down at your campsite. That's how real men do it. They camp.
That's right.
That's what we're doing.
If you got a family, I suppose there's a slight you're excused that you can stay in the house. But comfy chair, cup, a good cup.
Ooh, like
you
mug
bring
or
your own cup.
or pint glass?
like a mug,
Okay.
mug, or I would go non-breakable.
Okay.
Yep. So that would be good. Like insulated, so you can get coffee in the morning.
Yep.
And then you got that.
I'm bringing my plate for sushi. We already know that.
Yep. Plate for sushi from Danny.
Chopsticks. I already got them.
Chopsticks are good. And the ability to ride while underslept. That is also a good one. You want to practice that.
Just like
Good
described
smile.
Whistler.
Good smile, man.
Yeah.
Good smile. Like good smile, open doors. Like just talk to anybody and everybody, and all of a sudden you eat. Yeah. I've got some of my best friends from that. I was just chatting with one of them, John, lives out in Kansas, and just a rad guy, and we were talking about bikes. Yeah, it's a cool experience.
I love it. Well, and we definitely will be talking because we're bringing the podcast to. We talked with.
Excellent.
We talked with Yeti and asked for permission, and Will Liddy was like, "Dude, that sounds like a great idea."
Perfect.
So we're gonna have our little booth. Nothing's finalized all the way, but yeah. So we'd love to have you in person. If you're
definitely. We'll sit down and chat and over beverage, over tasty beverage.
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say too, because our producer's coming. We're doing a whole video shoot thing, and he also makes very good pour over coffee that he's bringing his whole setup for in the morning. So
excellent.
So we'll just bring you guys in.
Think about that.
I did.
All right. So, what do you think of this?
What?
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were spinning with the flag behind you. I was like,
yeah. Hey, what do you think of this? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What do you think of that? Take it. So, hey, let's bring it home. Let's close it out. So, Justin, we had a blast with you. We had a blast actually cyber stalking you. You have an amazing presence online that shows your accomplishments, but you're pretty vulnerable in it too. So thank you for sharing your heart, sharing your mission, helping others. Like you being a coach, you're helping others avoid pitfalls that you've had to endure. And we look forward to what's next. And so that's a question for you. What's next? Is it, have to do with co-founding Zircle Optics?
Yeah, next, this current adventure is Zircle Optics. We make plant-based 3D printed eyewear, and based out of here in Steamboat Springs, and we use nylon lenses, which is quite unique to us. Got a lot of boys at Yeti on them, so you can talk to them about them if they like them or not. Some rippers.
Is it edible? Plant
I mean,
based?
you could eat it. I think you'd have a heck of a time passing it. But nothing's impossible.
Well, we'll have to check those out, man. That sounds rad.
I'll bring a bunch to the gathering for people to test out and try out, and we do goggles as well. But so that's that. And then I still work for Red Bull, and I coach one athlete who's one of the best athletes in the world, and very honored that she trusts me with her career. And
do you want to name drop?
Yeah, so her name's Esther Ledecka. She's from the Czech Republic. She's
cool.
Very, very talented skier and snowboarder. She's a gold medalist in both skiing and snowboarding. And so pretty badass lady.
Yeah.
So
kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
You're not sleeping in your truck anymore.
Right? No, I'm not sleeping in my truck. Awesome. I've got a little house in Steamboat, and
awesome.
yeah.
Right.
That's awesome, man. Well, you have an incredible journey that is like this, but it's ended up on the up and up, which is great. And I love that you're sharing about your experiences because it's unique, it's unique to be talked about, but I feel like way more people go through it. So by sharing it, more people feel seen and that they can have some hope to get through it too. And you're paying that forward. You're, coming on here for people to listen, you're coaching, like, no, we're just, and you're just an awesome guy. So it's just cool to hang out and talk.
Yeah.
Just Justin. Just
Justin. And Justin is enough. And you know that. So,
Oh, wow.
we're trying to. I don't know if I know it, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Yeah. Third in the world. Okay. So thank you. Thanks, Justin, for joining us and sharing your story. And to everyone else listening, remember this podcast is about the journey, not the arrival. Set the goal, build the countdown, and do hard things. And don't forget to enjoy the ride.
Yep. And we'll see you in 46 days at the gathering.
Awesome, boys. Thanks. Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Bo.
See you guys.
Later.